Okay, we are live and just a couple minutes late. I'll tell you what, this was a rush. I just got back and I just went to the Costco, got some supplies. You can see some of them in the back behind me. I haven't even packed them away yet. I mean, I literally just got here minutes ago. And I just sent out an email to the folks that are on the email mailing list. So if you're not on my email mailing list, message me, CraigShipp@gmail.com, CraigShipp@gmail.com, and I'll add you to that mailing list or make a comment down below and we'll add you to the mailing list. This is an emergency broadcast. The last broadcast we did, this mic was not working, so the audio was I think bad. And so I deleted it, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before. And I've got to get all these. Let's see, I'm trying to get these comments up here. Yeah, I think I'm going to have them all available here. The Facebook comments that I talked about last week. And what triggered this was me commenting that I use this watch for everything. I mean, if I'm working out, if I'm playing volleyball, beach volleyball, sometimes I wear it. Sometimes I'm wearing the titanium stunner, the Grand Seiko titanium dive watch. But if I have this on, I'll play. Like the other day, they have a special volleyball group that meets that they were one player short, and I just happened to be there to just watch for the first game. I was just a spectator, and they said, hey, listen, we're one short. Can you play? And so I was wearing this watch, and I said, sure, I'll go ahead and play. So all I had to do is take my shoes and socks off, and I had my hat and my sunglasses all ready. So I was ready to play some volleyball. And so we played 3 good games. And yeah, I mean, the people on Facebook that commented, oh, you'll scratch it, the bracelet will stretch. Well, let me show you some of the comments so you know that I'm not making this stuff up, okay? So I'm not making this up. So let me add this to the screen here. Present, share screen, and let's see. That one, yeah. Okay, let me share this. All right, and let me make this full screen so you can see it better. And so I commented, I said, still looks good after a month of heavy use, even with some scratches. Yes, I wear it playing tennis and volleyball and working out in the gym. And you can see the scratches there on the bracelet on the bottom of the clasp. And so this gentleman gets it. He said that's the way to wear a Rolex. And I replied, I said, I agree. Life is too short to not wear your watches. And this gentleman has the same watch. He said, definitely my favorite. And this gentleman says, that's what they're for, to wear. It's beautiful. Okay. And then I said, I agree. A Rolex is a robust, heavy use watch. And this guy says, you play beach or indoor? And I replied that I play beach. And this guy says, if you're wearing a watch that has a Jubilee bracelet to the gym, then you're not lifting heavy weights. Makes no sense wearing a watch with no movement. I don't know what that meant, but I replied, I said, not sure what you're talking about. The Jubilee bracelet is robust, especially the modern bracelets with the ceramic sleeves. And we'll talk about those ceramic sleeves here in a minute. This guy says, I got mine March 3rd, but I can't wear it. I promised myself I'd wear it when I lose 6 kilograms. I gained 2 kilograms. Then I replied, I said, and this guy says, I hope you take it off when you weigh in, because the watch is heavy. Wearing a watch to the gym will never make sense to me. Laughing out loud. And here's 12 replies to this one. Taking a watch off your wrist will never make sense to me. I buy watches to wear. And then there's 10 replies to that. This guy says, yeah, I wear mine every day, but you're clearly not working out that hard if you're doing it with a 20K plus watch on LOL. You're just wanting people to look at you at that point. Here's the thing. People don't notice your watch. At least my experience, people don't care what watch you're wearing. I've never seen that that's a thing. That's only a thing in the watch community. Average real people could care less what watch you're wearing. And then this guy says, you will stretch the bracelets a lot faster in the gym. Oh boy. Then I said, I have several watches. This other guy said, I have several Rolex watches, and the Sea Dweller is my garden and landscaping watch. And then I replied to the other guy about stretching. I said, if it gets stretched out, I'll buy another one. Trolling him a little, right? And then it says, I said, I get pretty good workouts, and a Rolex can handle heavy use. And Josh Ward, it's not the watch. I just know it's not going to be comfortable lifting if you're actually exerting effort. Why? My watch is comfortable whether I'm exerting effort or not. Does he wear his watch too tight on his wrist or something? Is it not sized properly? I mean, what's this guy's issue? And then I replied, my GMT is comfortable no matter what I'm doing. And I said, by the way, the ceramic sleeves that they're now putting in these gold bracelets make them hold up much better. And this guy says, I agree with you. My landscaping, gym, bike riding, weightlifting, etc., is my Sea Dweller. Rarely will you see me doing anything without a Rolex on my wrist. Yeah, life's too short. Wayne says, I believe all Rolex Oyster models. This is what I said to him. I believe all Rolex Oyster models are built for heavy duty use. Your watch can also handle extreme use. Let's see, to each his own, but I agree. You could also wear a tuxedo to the gym, but it's also meant to be worn. Just because you can't doesn't mean that's not a good comparison. A tuxedo to the gym would not make any sense at all. That's a formal attire. A sport watch to the gym, which is what a GMT master is, it's designed for sport. Is working out not sportive behavior? Here's a comment. David says, I want an Apple Watch Ultra. Should I buy two or wait for the three? I think any of them are good. I think they're fine. I had the first Apple Watch and I wore it for a while, but I don't know. I went back to my other watches. So let's see. I think I had some more comments here. Okay, here's one where I was riding at the gym. Let me stop and present this one. Share screen. Riding the exercise bike. I think this is it. Okay. All right. So riding the exercise bike after 3 games of beach volleyball, the GMT is holding up great. And here are the comments. Happy Friday. And a muscle thing. Okay, so there was only 2 comments on that one. And let me see. I gotta stop sharing screen. Remove that. Stop sharing that. I think there was another one here. Let's see. Perfect heavy use. Looks good after a month of heavy use. You see what this one has. How many comments this one? No, I'm sorry. That's the same one. This one, I'm just reviewing these just to see if there's any others I need to show you. No, not that one. See what this one says. Okay, here's a good one to share. Let me share this one. Present, share screen. This one. Okay, so I said, this is another Facebook post, of course. I said, perfect heavy use daily sport watch. And I put a picture of the GMT 18 karat gold stunner. So then this guy says, 14 to 18K probably shouldn't be used every day for heavy use. It depreciates the value, but hey, live life. Okay, so I replied, I don't buy my watches for resale. I buy my watches to wear them. In my experience, 18 karat gold watches hold up just fine. I've been wearing them for 45 years. And then they go to 2 replies here. He says, yeah, I understand that part. That's why I usually use that perspective with my vehicles, but my jewelry is appreciated by its quality, not the age. Like I said, live life. I'm one that understands there's some people that can afford to do things most others can't. Cheers, brother. And then I replied, there's no doubt that many who buy expensive watches really shouldn't do that. These are consumable items. They are not good investments. I recommend spending no more than 1 week's wages on a watch or 1% of your net worth. Then down here, a luxury sport watch for regular use must mean that it's super comfortable, smooth edges. Replies, correct. The gold GMT feels very nice on the wrist. Please join us. Da da da. Okay, it's like an ad. Congratulations, I got one myself. One of my favorite watches. Great piece, awesome piece. Love sporting 18 karat daily. Let's see. Do you have this available in Europe? Is there noticeable weight difference between the gold and steel version? And somebody said yes, definitely. The gold piece is heavier, but it's very comfortable on the wrist. I said gold just feels better against the skin. It's not a good idea to have stainless steel against your skin. I believe that. I think gold feels better on the skin. Please join us. Da da da. Congratulations. Too much attention. I haven't seen that to be a problem. Most people don't care what watch you're wearing. Let's see. Okay, so that's about that. That's it for the Facebook comments. CraigShip. Any watches? Put this back up. Any watches on the lookout for at Watches Wonders? No, I'm not real. I'm happy with the watches I have. I'm happy with this. This GMT is fantastic. I'm happy with the Grand Seikos that I have. I'm not looking for anything. I really wasn't going to buy this watch. This was kind of bought on a bet and kind of on a challenge type thing. If you all remember from my channel, when Bitcoin hit $16,000 on the last cycle, when it pulled all the way back to 16,000, which was close to the bottom, it was a challenge that, okay, if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy an extra Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, I'm going to sell that one Bitcoin, pay the capital gains tax, take the profit and buy a gold Rolex, this watch, and a Lexus LS 430. I ended up buying this watch and a Lexus LX 470 because the LX 470 can be flat towed behind this motor coach. So the LS cannot be flat towed. So that's why I did that deal. So that was kind of like a personal challenge thing where, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy the Bitcoin at 16, an extra one, and just splurge when it gets to 100,000, splurge on a gold watch and a Lexus LX 470 with the profit that I made on that transaction. Okay, because see, even after paying the capital gains tax, there was enough profit to buy this and the car. After you deduct the 16,000 and deduct the capital gains tax, the math works out fine. So that's what I did. So that's the only reason why I bought this watch. I really didn't need it. I do like it, and I do find that it's very convenient down here in Florida where you're sweating more. You know, I'm playing a lot of beach volleyball, tennis, all this stuff. You do sweat more. And so, yeah, I could wear the 231, the titanium diver. That handles the sweat fine. It's totally anti-corrosive. But I can also wear this. So I have a 2-watch rotation while I'm down here in Florida. I rotate those 2. And then if I get back up north, I can rotate back in the 002 the 18 karat gold stunner Grand Seiko. So let me go to my brand here and show, in case anybody doesn't understand. Let me go to, I guess we can stay on Mid-Atlantic TV. Yeah, we can stay on Mid-Atlantic TV and go to media. So when I say the 002, I mean this watch here. This is the dress watch. Here's another picture of it with me next to it. And there's the faux pay, which I have on my wrist right now. Here's another picture of it. That's the 002 that I like a lot. Okay, and here's another picture of it. But again, it is not the ideal watch to wear when you're sweaty. And although I would do it because I don't think the leather strap is going to melt because it gets a little sweat on it. You just clean it, right? But it's not the ideal watch to wear. And this was my combo. This was the two watch combo that I had before I got the GMT, the 18 karat dress watch, and of course the 231 titanium stunner. And of course, this is the watch that I sold. That was the last Rolex that I had that I sold before I got into the Grand Seikos. And there's the Grand Seikos again. And so, yeah, I mean, it's like I think I've got the perfect, by the way, here's the titanium stunner and the clasp. I think I've got the perfect combo. Here's the latest edition. I think I've got the perfect combo of watches. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Let's see. The 002 stunner is ideal for pickleball. There you go. Oh, let me put the link in the chat for anybody that wants to come in as a guest. I'm going to put it in the chat if you want to pop in and say hi and be part of the show. Please keep it family friendly. And put the link in the chat there for anybody that wants to pop in. And I think Kyle was supposed to pop in. Let me send him a text and see where he is. Kyle is supposed to be joining us. Say here. Kyle, I'm live. Are you going to pop in? Okay, send him this text. And I'll send him the link in the text, in the messages. I got to do that on the computer here. By the way, how does my audio sound? Please let me know. Please let me know how the audio sounds. Testing 1, 2, 3. Just let me know. What else do we? Oh, and what we brought up was this. Let me find the picture. Let me find the picture. Give me a second. I will find it. I promise you I'll find it. Okay, here it is. Here's the picture I showed last week. Let me share screen and present. Stop. Okay, present. Share screen. Robert Culp. Here we go. Okay, so this is Robert Culp. Let me go full screen. And let me undo this. Somebody says they're still obsessing over those Daytonas, never got the hype. Okay, we'll talk about the Daytonas. So here's a picture of Robert Culp in an old Columbo episode from like the mid 70s or early 70s. And he's wearing a gold GMT with the Jubilee bracelet. And this was his personal watch because he wore it in 3 different episodes of Columbo. So it's clearly his personal watch. And he just wears it like a watch. It's nothing special. He's doing all kinds of things in these episodes. One of them, he's shooting guns and stuff, which he said, "Oh, I got to take my gun off because the shock, the shock will hurt the watch." He doesn't care. He's doing all this stuff while he's wearing the 18 karat gold GMT Master. So this is the kinds of things that I used to see back in the day. Just people wearing the watch. It wasn't anything special. Well, I mean, it was special. I mean, it's a Rolex, for gosh sakes. But when I say it wasn't anything special, I mean they bought it as a watch. Yes, they many times they knew they were buying a nice watch. They were buying a Rolex. But once they bought it, it was just worn just like a watch, just like any watch they would wear. It wasn't babied. They didn't take it off and wear some other watch if they were doing something. I mean, it was their watch. And a lot of times it was their only watch. Maybe they might have one or two or three. There were some people that had, collections of watches even back then, but it wasn't that common. It was usually they either got it for a gift from the wife, or they bought it for some special occasion, or they just bought it because they liked it or whatever. And then they just wore the watch. It wasn't it wasn't considered something they need to protect as an investment or whatever. Hey, can't get it. I just can't scratch it. I got to be careful and all this. It wasn't like that back in the day. People didn't think that way. It seems unnatural to me to have that thought process. Oh my God, I'm going to stretch out the bracelet. When I bought my 18238 date 8, that was before they had the solid links. Those were more prone to stretch than the newer ones. But I took good care of mine. I kept it clean. If I sweated and all that and salt got in the bracelet, I would rinse it out with, fresh water and clean it up, that same day. So I wouldn't leave grit like in between the links and all that and on the pins and all that. I would keep it clean, right? And I really didn't have a problem. My watch 20 years later did not really have stretch. It was in great shape. That's 20 years. So these newer ones, I'm pretty sure, are even better than that watch. And that watch lasted 20 years of regular heavy use without having any major stretch. And so now these newer ones, this watch has the ceramic sleeves and the bracelet. I'm thinking it'll probably go 50 years without having any stretch. I don't know how long it's going to go. Kyle, what do you think? What's your comment? I mentioned before you popped in, we talked about that TV show with Columbo, where Robert Culp was wearing the gold GMT Master. And it's obviously his personal watch because he had it on in 3 different shows, same watch. And it's been pictured in various places, so clearly it was his watch. Do you think he really worried about harming the watch by wearing and using it? Oh, you're muted somehow. I don't have any audio from you. I don't know what happened. Let me see here. Kyle, no, you're not muted on my end. Check your audio. See if anything is, see if your audio settings are okay. Just go into your settings on StreamYard and make sure that there's nothing muted, because I'm not hearing anything from you yet. Oh, you know what? Maybe do I not have the volume turned up on my end? Hey, let us know in the chat. Can you guys hear Kyle? And I'm going to check my settings here to make sure that I don't have anything that's not copacetic so that I can hear you. Audio speaker, MacBook Pro speakers. Yeah, I should hear you. Default, built in. Say something now, Kyle. I can't hear you. This is strange because I could hear you before, and nobody's saying anything in the comments yet as to whether or not they can hear you, because I've got no audio from Kyle. Anybody have any comment on that? Oh, he's going to go back out and come in, I guess. technical difficulties on a live stream are not unheard of. Let me know what you all were hearing if you can make a comment in the chat, what you were or were not hearing with regard to Kyle. Okay, no sound from Kyle. Yeah, so it was on his end, I guess. So hopefully he'll come back in. Ray's in the house. I didn't hear Kyle. Can you all let me know in the comments section?
Nothing to do with that.
Okay, we got you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we got audio now. Can you hear
Good.
me?
Yeah. So what happened was I kept going to toggle on the settings to turn the microphone from my iPhone. For some reason, why it defaulted to that, I have no idea.
Okay.
And I kept pressing default, which is the computer that I'm using.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It would always just go back to iPhone. So I turned my iPhone off, and it worked.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm going to turn the phone off. Forget it. Yeah.
So you heard what you heard what I said about Robert Culp, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he, was worried about it whatsoever, right?
You watched the show, right?
I only watched one episode. I didn't realize it was 3.
But that was the one where it was heavily displayed, right? I mean, it was in there a lot.
Yeah, I watched the one where he was the GM for the football club.
Yeah. And so some of the times he had his sleeves rolled up where it was just totally exposed.
Oh, yeah.
And did it seem like to you that it was just totally natural for him to just be wearing the watch? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it looked good on his wrist too, right? I mean, it looks as good as yours does on your wrist.
I have to make a comment about this watch.
Yeah.
This watch is very close to perfect, but and there is no such thing as a perfect watch, I've decided.
There isn't, yeah.
Here's the deal. The color of this yellow gold is not the same as like my faux pay. You probably can't tell in this that much that there's a color difference, but there is a color difference.
There, I can see that now that you mention it. Yeah,
there is a color difference. The Rolex just decided, for whatever reason, God knows what, that they would change the color a little bit for 18 karat yellow gold, where it's not the same as my signet ring. It's not the same as my faux pay necklace. It's not the same as this. It's a little bit off. It looks gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. It looks stunning.
Right. But
and I'm not saying this to take away from the people that saw it in person, that told me I should get it, that told me it was beautiful. I agree with them. It's beautiful in person. It's a beautiful watch.
Right.
But there was no reason for them to change the tint of the yellow gold.
No, what if you? So you're certain that if you compared it against, like, let's say your 18238 that you sold,
it's different. I think it's different.
Different. Okay.
I think it's a little bit different. A little bit different. Now, that might be because this does not have a patina all over it yet.
Maybe.
It just might be too shiny, right? Or something.
Maybe.
Once it gets more of a patina, the fine little scratches that get on everything that you can't hardly see, but that kind of does change the look of the gold. It changed the look of this. This was brighter and more in your face when I first got it. And now it's more toned down.
What about if you compare the tone of that yellow gold to the 002?
The 02 is correct. The 02 is the same color as my.
Everything is the same except that. Then
that's correct.
Wow.
That's
all
correct.
Let's say all the gold pieces that you own, if you were to put them all together,
even my money clip matches everything.
Interesting.
Everything I have that's yellow gold looks like normal yellow gold. And it's normally the same. That's the beauty of buying yellow gold, is it's normally everything will match.
Right.
Whereas rose gold, everybody does have a different take on rose gold,
gold,
and so that's not, there's no guarantee that you buy rose gold from one manufacturer and buy it from another one, that there's no guarantee it's going to be the same. Right. Whereas yellow gold traditionally has, usually in my experience, always looked the same. That was one of the benefits of it. But of course, Rolex has to do it a little different, maybe. And
Maybe they
again,
do. Yeah, you're right.
it's subtle. Again, it's subtle. I still much prefer this over their rose gold. Their rose gold to me looks like it's almost like a copper watch. I mean, I'm just like, no, I mean, absolutely not. This is still far better than that.
Sure.
But again, why do they have to have it a slight tint?
It's a good question.
I don't understand that. I say we got a comment. Let's go through these. Warren Buffett still rocking his gold Rolex. Seems to work good for him. Does he still have a gold Rolex? I didn't know he had one. Okay, cool. Rolex golds all have a touch of purple in them. The rose too. Yeah. So I don't understand why they do that. So that's a little, you know, detraction right there.
Right.
Again, we're talking about if the benchmark is perfect up here.
Sure.
We're going to take it down just a little bit for that. That's a little ding.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'm going to give it a little ding on is the clasp. And of course, the polished center part, we all know that that's a fail. Okay. It gets immediate scratches, but I don't, it'll just get a patina on it. I'm good with that. Right. But this part here that you grab to unlock it. Okay. So right here where the Jubilee bracelet transitions to it, it sticks up a little more than I think it needs to. It could be more flush. It could be more flush here when I run my finger like that.
I'd be interested to look at yours versus
because for example, on a date 8, everything's flush except for the little thing that you use to unlatch it, right?
That's
so obviously they can do that.
They can. Yeah.
There's a way they can do it. Now, on the other side of the clasp, on this side of the clasp, it's the same deal. It's not totally flush.
Right.
It sticks up a little bit.
It does.
Now, is your sub the same way?
Same.
So see, people talk about how the clasp on the Rolex is just perfect and all of this, right? No, it's not. I'm sorry. Objectively speaking, it's not perfect. It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very flat to the wrist. It's easy to unlatch, to unlock, and then take off completely. It's very easy. I can do it in the dark, blind, no problem. So, you know, again, we're starting at a very high, you know, here's perfect. We got a little ding on the color, a little tiny ding on the clasp.
Yeah.
The only other ding is, of course, it's not as accurate as my Grand Seikos.
Right.
It's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Sure.
And it turns out, Kyle, and I've been totally transparent on this channel. I'm going to call it the way it is. Turns out that the watch is running 1 second slow now that it's settled in to its routine.
No.
1 second a day slow.
1 second slow.
Which I don't like.
Yeah,
I don't like slow. I'm not cool with slow.
Well,
but here,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I was going to say it's still within spec, but that's
not
good.
Here's the solution.
Yeah.
And what I've done today is I set it 10 seconds fast.
Right.
So that'll give me 20 days to where I have to fool with it again. So it'll go from 10 seconds fast to 10 seconds slow in 20 days, right?
Right.
And then I'll repeat the process. So it'll always be within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's really the best I can do given the situation. I would rather it run a second fast so that way every 10 days or so I just pull the stem out for 10 seconds and push it back in. I don't have to recalibrate, you know, the minute hand and all that crap. Right. Although it's very easy to do that on this watch. If you stop it at with the second hand at the 12 and then you just run it ahead a minute or so.
Yeah.
Right. And then just let the watch catch up to where you want and push the thing in. It's very easy to keep it in sync and to reset it. So it's not the end of the world, but I'm not a fan of a watch that runs slow, period.
No, absolutely not.
So, but because it's 1 second slow and not 3 or 4 seconds slow, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want the watch opened up for that, you know, because like you say, it's within specs anyway.
Right. Would you rather? would you rather it not be within spec and have and get the opportunity to take it back down there, say, hey, open this up, fix it, and let's get it
Well,
running fast per
the
day?
funny thing about it is I don't want it opened, period. I just don't want it
Oh,
messed with, to tell you the
right.
truth. I just don't want it messed with.
Yeah.
So no, but I am a little bit disappointed with my AD. She treated me great all the way around, but I did specifically ask her to wind the watch and run it for 3 days and check it to see if it was running slow or fast. That's all I asked her to do. And she said that it was running within specs and that it was running fast. It turns
Right.
out it's not. Now, maybe for those 3 days it did. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because it varied a little bit the first week I had it. It was running like a little bit slow, and then it was running like a little bit fast, kind of like, when the watches are getting settled into their environment and all of
Right.
that, they kind of do their thing. But now it's kind of settled down to where it's pretty consistently losing a second a day.
Okay.
So anyway,
Well, continue to monitor it, I guess, and see if
yeah,
it
well, I mean, if it gets worse, I'm going to bitch. Yeah, if it gets totally unacceptable, then yeah, I'm going to bitch. But you don't buy a Rolex
yeah.
and expect it to be as accurate as a Grand Seiko spring drive. It's just not
No.
realistic.
No, but I mean, you'd like it to be fast rather than slow if you had your choice. And you'd rather be I mean, you're in spec right now, but if things get worse, then obviously you're gonna have to take it
Now,
back to PD and get
yeah,
something done.
now yours does run a little fast, right? Your
Now, yeah.
sub?
Yeah, but it has varied though. It's done like yours. Like sometimes, it'll be a second slow, and then sometimes it'll be a few seconds fast. So it can change. And I don't know if that has like temperature has anything to do
Maybe
with it.
it's the humidity or stuff like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Or some people say it's the way that you set it down at night when it's idle. How are you setting it on its side or which side or flat? I don't know. So I've heard those sorts of things, but I'm not too deep
Yeah. Yeah.
in the weeds on
I
that. But
wear mine. What I've been doing lately
yeah,
is I wear mine until I get up in the morning. I have my
right,
juice that I make and all that. And then when I get ready to go play morning volleyball, I play at 9 o'clock every morning. I
right.
put on the 231
Okay,
and I go play morning volleyball. And then when I get back from morning volleyball, usually around 11 a.m. or so, then I put this watch on and I wear it for the duration. And so if I go to the 1 o'clock in the afternoon volleyball, I've played several times in that group, then I end up wearing this because I have it on. And what I do is I'm not really a regular in that group. And I don't really want to be because I don't want to be in the sun every afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m.,
yeah,
on a regular basis and get more skin cancer and stuff. And so what I do is I swing by there, and if they're short a player, then I'll help them out and I'll step in and play. And so I've done that several times, and I've worn this watch doing it, and the watch has done fine.
sure,
Um, one guy, they take a little break in between games, and we were sitting down and we're talking, and this is the only time this has happened at this resort, and this I wear it all the time, so this is not a common occurrence. But
right.
anyway, we're sitting down, and this one guy says, he kind of looks at me, and he kind of looks at the watch, and he says, "Is that real?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "Is that a Rolex?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yes." He says, "Is it real?" And I said, "Well, if you mean, is it a real Rolex? Of course it is. Why would I wouldn't wear something that's not real." He says, "Hey,"
Right.
he says, "I've just never seen anybody play volleyball wearing a gold Rolex."
Really, that's so
So of
funny.
course I took it off. I took it off and I handed it to him and let him hold it and stuff. And of course, as soon as he feels the weight and everything, then he knows,
Yeah,
that it's the real deal. But
right.
this is the only time anybody has said anything, because people made
That's
comments in there
cool.
about it gets too much attention and all of that stuff. That's the only time that I can honestly say that it got some kind of a reaction.
Right. Right.
But that guy probably kind of knew what a Rolex looked like, but wasn't 100% sure.
Mhm.
And just didn't believe that somebody would be wearing an actual Rolex, a gold one in particular, playing beach volleyball, in the sand and everything.
Right. Right.
So,
Couldn't
yeah.
believe it. Yeah, so I checked my watch right now, and I don't even remember the last time I said it. It's been a while. Well, when we changed times, I guess. So it hasn't been that long, to be honest with you. Never mind. We did change the time, so that's why. But I'm on the second. So
Oh, you're right on the time, right on time.
literally perfect. Yeah. Looked it up right now.
Wow.
So yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
So it's been a couple weeks.
You're right.
Because it was
Exactly.
like something like November 7th or something whenever we did it. I mean, it's been a couple weeks easy.
Right. Yeah, it was March 9th. I had
Yeah.
to Google it right now just to
Yeah, you're doing good.
Yeah, so it's been 14 days and it's literally on the bean. We're right on the second here.
That's like my spring drive would be doing. Wow.
That's crazy, right?
crazy.
I can't believe
Yeah.
it actually. Yeah.
I do
So,
like being able to move the hour hand an hour back and forth, because that's all I did when the time changed. I just
oh
moved the
right.
hour
Yeah.
hand
Yeah.
because I want to keep my 24-hour hand on legit time.
Okay.
See, the time we have now is not legit.
Oh, I see
So,
what you mean. Yeah.
so noon is supposed to be the time that the sun is highest in the sky.
Yeah. Okay.
When you're in the northern hemisphere, wherever you are, it's in the highest point in the sky. I think it's the same thing in the southern hemisphere. Anyway, when you change the time by an hour, that's no longer true.
True. You're right. Yeah.
So it's BS time. We should call it BS time, is what we
Yeah.
should call it. And so I want to know legit, when the sun is at the highest point that it's going to be in any given day. I want to know that's high noon. That's why they call it high noon.
Right.
And when you monkey around with the time, now we've set it an hour off. It's not correct. Like right now, it's 1500 hours, and no, I'm sorry, 1600 hours is the actual time. And it's going to be 1700 hours and 15 minutes. Okay. Right. And on our time, it's what, 1600. It's going to be 1600 hours and 15 minutes.
Where you are.
So we've messed it up by an hour.
Right.
Right. And so in the spring, when we readjust the time, then both of my hour hands will both be legit real time.
Right.
But I'm going to leave my GMT hand on real actual time all the time, so that I know, so I can look on that and say, hey, the sun is really going to be the most powerful at X time.
I was wondering what you were going to do with that hand. Now we know.
And then what I'm going to do when I travel,
yeah,
is I'm just going to use the quick change of the hour hand back and forth. If I go to California, sure, I'll just move the hour hand 3 hours. I'll leave the GMT hand where it is and just move the hour hand. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. Yeah.
Totally.
So, all right. Well, what happened to our guest? Who was the guest that popped in and showed us the watches? Do you remember?
I do not. I was late to the show.
Okay.
Oh, are you talking about previously?
Last week.
Yes.
Who was it that popped in?
His name is escaping me for the moment, but
it's a shame it's a shame he's not watching now.
I know.
So that we could go over that again, because I had to delete the other one because the audio, I didn't like the audio. Okay, let's go through these comments and then we're going to wrap this up. We already talked about the Rolex has a slight touch of purple, and saw a guy wearing an all gold Daytona. he still had the stickers on it. This is like the little old
Yeah.
lady that has the beautiful, uh, couch of
Right.
silk, really high quality material, 100% silk, stuff with
Plastic.
horse hide, top of the line, couch
Yeah.
that in 1968 was $5,000, and she had it totally covered with plastic her
Sure.
whole life
Yeah.
because she wanted to save it.
Yeah.
Who in the hell was she saving it for?
I've been in those homes though, and I've sat on those sofas.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
100%. And I think about it every time. This is your only life, and this is how you're gonna experience this thing with a rubber on it?
It's just
Come on.
crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. He says it was Marcelo. Where's Marcelo? Where are you? Come on in. I put the
Yeah,
link in the
Marcelo,
chat.
that was right. Yeah. Yeah, Marcelo.
I'm
That was
gonna
a
put
good
it. I'm gonna put it in one more time just in case he's out there somewhere, and
that
we'll
was
give him a
good.
minute. We'll
Those.
give him a minute or so to come in.
He had quite a collection too.
But yeah, I mean, and you think about it, when this really became a thing was when the watches started really going up in value. And I really shouldn't say going up in value when the watches were selling for way over retail,
Right. Peak hype.
okay, where people really thought that these watches were great investments, whereas they were great speculation items. If you could buy one from an AD for list and then flip it for 10 grand more right away, that's great. But that's not
Right.
an investment. That's a flip. That's
That's a
dealing
flip.
in
Yeah.
watches.
Right.
This is kind of a different thing. If you buy a whole bunch of these steel watches and you have them in a case, with 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom, 12 watches, and they're all steel Rolexes, and that's your like life's savings. That's all your money is in those watches, and you got to be very, very careful that anything happens to them, anything at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a high stress situation. It also seems like a very marginal investment. It seems very risky to me. I don't think there's any guarantee whatsoever that, for example, a steel Submariner is going to be selling used for over list 5 years from now.
That's not gonna
I
be
I don't think there's any
There's
guarantee
no
of that.
indication of that at all right now.
I think it's risky business to bank on that. Okay,
I think
literally.
most people have figured that out though.
I don't know.
I don't
A
know
lot of
either.
them.
I
A
don't know
lot of them
either.
still have a lot of. I still see them sharing pictures of all these watches in these boxes. And this one guy was so proud. He had a picture of, there were 2 rows of watches, and they were all on winders. They all turn.
Right. Sure.
And I'm really taking good care of my watches. I was told that if I use this winder here, it'll keep them in great shape, and all the lubricants and all, and the correct, and none of them will get scratched, and so on and so forth. He was so proud of all these watches in this case that, with the winders and all that. And I'm thinking, I
No.
told one guy,
Totally
I told one guy that has a picture of, he had a picture of like 12 steel watches, and he had all the GMTs. He had the Pepsi, the Batman, the Batgirl. He didn't have this one, right? But he had
Yeah.
all the steel ones, right?
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, man, why don't you sell all those steel ones and
Right.
get a gold stunner and then wear it?
Right. Right.
He didn't take that very well.
Because he could have. I mean, shoot, easily.
He could have probably sold.
2
Well,
of them.
if he did it at the top of the market, he could have probably
Could've sold
sold 2
2.
of them.
Yeah, top of the market could have sold 2.
Maybe.
They were going for over 20K. They were going for
Yeah.
the 20s.
He could have probably traded them with a dealer, right? He could have probably traded them with a aftermarket dealer.
Oh, easily.
And
He could have gone
2
in
of
there
them.
and gotten cash. You should get cash for it, and then you go to the AD later, or get your get
Yeah.
on the list for this or whatever you got to do to get that watch, get into the gold piece. But Yeah, top of the market, you probably could have gotten 50K for a couple of those GMTs.
You know, it's really a
They were
shame.
$10,000. Retail was like only 10K back then, I think, if I remember.
Now, when do you think, and then we got to wrap up, but when do you think all the people that have these box watches are going to start waking up and start realizing that this is a really bad plan and start dumping their watches? Because I don't think we've had any major dumping yet. I don't think we've gotten to the panic stage of them dumping. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that could be a case by case thing. Like, I personally don't know anybody whose like future is wrapped up in watches. I hope that not to be the case for anybody, because that's risky, like you said. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah,
I'm
that's a
just
good
wondering
question.
how long it's going to be a thing where people are sharing pictures of a box load of watches that are all steel. I
I
just
don't
don't,
know. I'm not sure.
um, because that only became a thing because they were so sought after. It was so hard to get them. That's
Right.
why everybody clamored to get them. They want
Right.
what they can't have,
Right. Of course. Yeah.
right?
Human
So
nature. Yeah.
so I think what's going to happen is when the GMTs, when you can just walk in like you used to be able to do years ago,
Right.
when you can just walk in, and I'm not saying anybody just walk in, and it wasn't even like that years ago. I remember Black Star and Frost and White Flaw Mall and Bethesda. You would walk in and you'd have a conversation with the salesperson and he'd show you a couple of watches and you'd talk with him and so on. You'd establish a little bit of a rapport, and he'd probably seen you in there before, seen you in the mall before, you know, kind of knows you're a real person. And you would get a watch within a few weeks or maybe a month. You'd get the watch that you want. That's
Okay.
kind of how it was. I remember when I wanted the
If
GMT
they
with the
didn't have it, if it
yeah,
wasn't on the shelf.
yeah, when I wanted the GMT with the Jubilee bracelet and the black on black, that
Right.
was the GMT that I bought after I sold my red sub. Um, I had bought the Datejust from the same Black Star and Frost in White Flint Mall. Mall's closed. Black Star and Frost is probably out of business. But anyway, um, I had bought the Datejust from them. That was the first watch that I bought new, Rolex, in 1978. I bought that from him for $580. And it was a Jubilee bracelet with an engine turn bezel. And so I had that for a while. And I had the red sub. Then I sold the red sub to Paul Faupel. And then I went back to Black Star and Frost and I told him I wanted a GMT with the Jubilee bracelet and the black on black bezel. And I think it took them a couple of weeks to get the
To get
watch
you
for
that.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just bought it. So that's kind of how it worked back in the day. You know, it
We
wasn't.
are probably headed, to a climate just like that. I mean, we're almost there,
There's
really.
no reason why that shouldn't be the norm,
Right,
because
exactly.
that was what the norm always was.
It probably is the case right now, depending on the piece that you want. I would assume. I don't know.
And
I really haven't
also,
been after getting a new one in a while, to be honest with you. I haven't really there's
it,
nothing I'm super
it,
interested in, so
yeah. Okay. So let's see
I haven't
here.
bought anything at all. But
Craig, do you recommend Grand Seiko or Rolex for a GMT watch?
I mean, we talked about this last time. We recommend the Rolex, right?
If
If it's
you
the
are
GMT.
buying, especially if you're buying the watch as a one and done, I think you have to go with the Rolex because it's thinner. It's significantly thinner. If you want a really massive looking sport watch, if that's what you're into, and some people want a big watch on their wrist, excuse me, especially if you have a big wrist to start with, then I really do like the titanium Grand Seiko, they have one with the winder down at the 4 o'clock position. I think that's a GMT. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
they do.
they do.
I
Yeah.
also
There's a
like
few
I
of
also
them.
like the one that I had. Remember the GMT that I had that was a 9F movement?
Right.
Now that's thin.
Yeah.
That could be a one and done because that was only like 38 millimeters.
Right.
So, if you want to go that route, then I would recommend that over a Rolex because it's thinner than the Rolex, more
Yeah.
accurate than the Rolex. It's going to be less money than the Rolex by far, and it's a comfortable watch. Now it doesn't
Gosh, I
have,
forgot about that watch. I forgot you had that. The 005, right?
yeah, and so
Wow.
that would be a really affordable, robust option. I mean, you can't break a 9F movement. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't.
that's a
You
good
just,
point.
so. But no, if you want something to wear all the time that is, impressive. Let's face it, a Rolex GMT is impressive. It's an impressive piece. I wouldn't have bought one back in like 1980, whenever the hell it was I bought it, if it wasn't impressive.
Right.
And so you can't go wrong. I mean, how could I say you can go wrong when I've got one on my wrist, for gosh sakes? That would be kind of, a little bit stupid. So, yeah, they're fantastic. They're a fantastic piece. They always have been. Let's go back to this picture here. I mean,
I think especially
know,
too, if you're
I mean,
considering a gold GMT specifically, there's no contest.
well, yeah.
I don't
Uh-oh,
even
wait a
know. Do they have does Grand Seiko even offer a full gold GMT? Not sure about that.
second. No.
Yeah, so
No, they don't.
your only
They
option
don't.
there.
No, they don't. Yeah, and here's the thing. The reason I mentioned the titanium GMT, that Grand Seiko has, I think, a couple of titanium models that are GMTs, if I'm not mistaken. They have one with the chronograph function. That's a chronograph and a GMT.
Does Steve
That's
have that too?
titanium. I think that's the one Steve has.
Yeah, Steve.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure that has a GMT function and the stopwatch. So that's epic. I mean, if you can pull it off, that's a big watch. But if you can pull that watch off, I mean, Steve loves it. He says it's very comfortable because of the titanium, right? It's no bigger than my 231 diver watch.
Is
it's
it
no
not?
bigger than that. Huh?
It's not?
No, mine's 43 millimeters. I think it's 43. I think it's about around the same size.
Yeah,
so no, they're very wearable because of the titanium. It's a big watch. I wouldn't recommend it for wrists under 7 inches. But I think if you can pull that off, that's a hell of talk about a robust piece. In titanium, you're not going to harm that watch.
Right.
But
lightweight, comfortable.
if you want to go all gold, and I really think, I mean, the more I think about this scenario, and I've been thinking about it for a long time, I think it's hard to beat 18 karat gold on a wrist.
Right.
It just has a feel to it. There's something about the feel to it
that's better.
There's something special about it. It's hard to describe, but when I used to wear the day-date and I'd switch over to the steel watch, it just wasn't the same. And I think it's hard to understand until you've actually worn the all gold watch,
for a period of time.
Not just for an hour or 2 hours, but for weeks.
You got to experience it. Yeah.
I think because first of all, there is a break-in period. People don't understand that, but there is a break-in period to where they keep getting smoother and smoother and feeling even better and better the more you wear them.
Right.
It's pretty wild. I think it's just very micro smoothing. There's no real rough edges to start with, but all the edges get sort of like micro smoothing. Like this ring is the same way. Right? Everything gets your skin just kind of slowly works on it. And look at that tan line. Look at the tan line from this bracelet. It's usually down here.
Right.
That's crazy.
There you go.
And, oh, by the way, for the people, the idiots, the morons that say that I don't actually wear this, okay. Check out this tan line. Okay, how do you think you get that tan line
Proof.
if you're not wearing the watch
Right.
when you're playing volleyball?
Right.
If I'm playing volleyball without the watch on, guess what? That's not there. I'm playing volleyball out in the sun, okay? So for the morons that say I'm just talking through my hat, how the hell, explain how that happened.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So Florida's been treating you well then. The weather's been good.
I love it.
Perfect.
From November to April, it's beautiful.
Right.
It's absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend it. So, all right. Well, thanks for popping in. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up? We've been going for about an hour.
I don't have much, but I was just wondering the other day, what the releases will be this year for Rolex. There's been nothing yet, so they seem
Somebody
to be.
said they might do away with this watch, but I doubt that.
That would be wow.
But they've done it before. They haven't always offered a yellow
Right.
gold GMT.
Right.
It's always come and gone.
Seems like it just got here, but maybe it's been a couple of years now, so maybe, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, I do not know how they make that decision. If it's based on sales, popularity, maybe this watch that Culp had, back in the day, maybe it didn't sell that well and then they discontinued it. I know they had it for a number of years.
I wouldn't imagine sales are a big factor in their decision making these days. Maybe then, but now with everything so sought after, and as soon as it's at the 80, it's sold. I'm not sure if that's something that they're
it's a shame that they never share that kind of information, because it would be kind of cool to know what their thought process is on, what watches they bring out, what watches they discontinue, how they manage that. It'd be interesting to know. I know back in the day, they made the GMTs. His has kind of like that brownish dial. I don't know what you call that. And
right.
The Bakelite or whatever for the bezel
Insert. Yeah.
That's very, very special looking. And so I don't know how many years they did that versus just, the black dial. Because his was kind of unique. But again, back in the day, the gold sport watches were, a small percentage, just like they are now, really.
Right.
I mean, for every 20 steel ones, they probably sell one gold one, if that. And maybe it's 50 steel for one gold. I don't know what the ratio is, but it's not a high ratio.
Right.
Of gold. I mean, it's now with date 8s, of course, you have no choice. It has to be precious metal.
Sure.
It has to be either platinum or gold or, white gold, whatever. But with these sport watches, it's always been a rare bird to have them in all gold. Steel and gold, there's always been a lot of them.
Right.
They've always made a lot of steel and gold ones.
Yeah, the two-tone.
But all gold has always been a kind of a rare situation. So
right.
All right. Well, and speaking of rare, I checked the numbers on this coach that I'm in.
Yeah.
They made an average of about 30 of these things a year.
Whoa.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
oh my gosh.
So you think that an all gold Rolex is rare? Just figure out how rare a Prevost Marathon coach is. 30 of them a year
from 1998 that are still in service on the road in that condition. How many? Do you have any idea?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah. I mean, there were some years they made 35, some years they made 40, some years but it averaged 30. And they've been making them since the late 80s, I think.
Okay.
Like 1985 or something like that was their first ones.
Right.
And so they've consistently made, around 30 a year. Most of them are still on the road. I mean, most of them are still around, bouncing around one way or the other. Right. I'm sure some have been totaled. I'm sure there's been a few that have burned to the ground. They're not all still on the road,
Right.
but there's always a lot of them for sale. It's not like they're hard to find. If you go on these different websites, there's always several of them for sale. Because like with anything else, there's a turnover because people get old, right? I mean,
Right.
people buy one of these things and then they enjoy them for a while and they get too old. Like the guy I bought this from, he was having health problems. He couldn't use it anymore. Craig
Right.
is a titanium diver out of a job. No, I still use it. So there's a turnover. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you can buy them. And also most people, I think, are just unaware of how well made they are and that they're a legit alternative to a later model, quote, RV,
Right.
that's sticks and staples and glued together and, basically a piece of crap.
Right.
They don't realize that one of these in good shape is going to outlast the brand new RV that they buy today. Let's say they buy a 2025 diesel pusher for $700,000,
Right.
a King Air or something, right? Fiberglass, piece of crap.
Right.
That thing will be in the junkyard being dismantled when this coach has found its next owner.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the deal. So, and most of them don't understand that. But the other thing is they got to finance it because they don't have any money. So they can't buy something like this because you can't finance something this old. You got to pay cash. Right. So that narrows down the people that could buy this anyway.
Sure.
Right. And so
Absolutely.
that's why a lot of them don't consider it, is because they look at it, they love it. Oh, it's so nice. It's cool. How much do I have to put down? And the guy's like, what do you mean put down? You got to pay cash. They're like,
Right.
well, where the hell am I going to get that kind of money?
Exactly. Yeah.
So they got to go and buy the other thing and go into hock, right, and be buried. So Craig, thoughts on BB monochrome versus new mesh Seamaster? What is he talking about? What's a BB monochrome?
I haven't seen.
Huh?
A couple of watches that I have not seen.
A BB monochrome?
Haven't
Okay,
seen that.
Seamaster
Haven't seen the Seamaster 300.
I like Seamasters. I've liked Seamasters in the past, but even Omega, I think a lot of their watches are thicker than they need to be.
I mean, obviously, I've seen the Seamaster 300, just not.
What's really neat about Omega and Grand Seiko is go and see Steve, because he has a huge selection of all the above. Go to Little Treasury, and if you can't make it there in person, go to littletreasury.com, and he's got them all in stock, so you can see, touch, and feel and compare them. If you can go there, because I highly recommend people do that, because you seeing these watches, these macro shots on websites, that doesn't tell you anything. You got to see, touch, and feel and put the watch on your wrist. Craig, have you picked up any gig work driving around sports teams or rock fan? No, I haven't. No, this is a private coach. I'm just using it for my private purposes. So yeah, but I'll tell you, this thing is a joy to drive down the road. It is a blast driving it from California to here. It was like I was sitting in my living room.
In that video that you did of it.
It was like I was sitting in my living room. This thing's so comfortable. It's it's all air ride, and then the seat that you sit in, the captain's chair, it's air ride on top of that, right? And on top of all that, the thing weighs like 50,000 pounds, and so it's just gliding down the road.
That's incredible.
And you can't hear the engine. The only reason I can tell the engine's running is I can see the tachometer.
Right.
When I start it up, if I've got the windows closed, I can't even tell it's running.
That's amazing.
It's all the way in the back, it's all the way in the back, and it's well insulated. And I can't even tell it's running. When the generator's running, I can tell it's running. There's just a very slight rumble, but it's very slight. And if I'm in the bedroom sleeping, which is the other end, the generator's up towards the front on purpose. because if you're sleeping, you don't want to hear it, right?
Sure.
So if I'm in the rear compartment sleeping, I can't hear the generator. And even if I'm in the rear compartment, even with the big diesel engine running, which I did one night at a truck stop, I left it running. I could sleep fine. It just kind of like a constant little low rumble, and it was fine. It was like, if you're at the seashore and you're hearing a constant,
I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
you get acclimated to it.
I like that better anyway. It drowns out the little intermittent noises.
Yeah, this thing is so freaking quiet. It's insane. When I close the windows, like I've got one window open right now up front. And by the way, I can hear the refrigerator. It's right here, the full-size refrigerator. It makes a low noise at all times, which gives you that background noise you were talking about.
Yeah.
Which I've just, after you tune it out, right? Like I don't even know it's there. But I don't hear any outside noise. Like if a car drives by the front of here where this coach is parked, I don't hear it. If there's somebody like in an adjacent spot, this is like an RV resort, so they're not that far from me. They can have their TV on or whatever. If my window's closed, I don't hear a damn thing because the windows are thick, right? I don't hear a damn thing. That was what was most impressive about this thing.
Perfect.
is how quiet it is, which that's what you need when you're on the road, because you don't know where you're going to be parking, where you're going to be staying, how much ambient noise is going to be out there. So you want something that's well insulated and, ready for that. Okay, we got to finish this up. $700K, would you rather buy a tiny house squeezed in the city of LA or live like a king in the RV? Here's the thing. Again, if you're going to get a quote RV, I wouldn't consider anything but a motor coach like this on a Prevost chassis. Period. Full stop. This chassis is designed to go 1,000,000 miles. It's robust as hell. Solid as a rock. It's designed to roll in a severe accident situation. It's designed to roll and be totally intact, right? A typical RV. Have you ever seen what crashes look like with those things?
Yeah, I have. I've
blast
seen
all to pieces.
Complete catastrophic blowouts.
It's a mess. It's a mess. Okay.
I've seen them wrecked on the highway.
These things are designed. These things are designed to stay intact.
Yeah.
It's an all steel monocoque, all the way around, everything, all heavy steel. Yeah, it's the way to go. And you're not going to spend any more money, but you're going to have to come up with cash. That's the downside.
You'll spend less money, but you got to come up with cash.
Here's the thing. I've budgeted $20,000 a year for maintenance on this coach.
Okay.
Now I may or may not spend that much, but that's what I've budgeted.
Okay.
Because I want to keep everything in top shape. So I'm going to take it to the bus grease monkey and have him go through it every year, service whatever needs to be serviced. Mm-hmm. And that could be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. I don't know, whatever it is. I'll just have him do it. Right. Because I'm going to keep this thing in top shape.
Yeah.
Now, if I get by with less than that, that's gravy. That's fine. But I'm budgeting the money. And if you buy a brand new one, sure, they're under warranty for a while, but getting stuff done on warranty on those is pulling teeth. It's a nightmare. And then once they're out of warranty, they're a maintenance nightmare because everything falls apart. Because it's like going down the road. It's like it's a constant earthquake, right? Going down the road with this thing, and everything's busting all to pieces and stuff. This thing here, you don't hear a rattle or squeak, anything. Nothing squeaks or rattles. I can go down the road 70 miles an hour and hit a pothole and stuff, and nothing. You don't hear it. Just goes down the road. There's no squeaks, rattles, nothing, because everything is so robust and so heavy duty. The door going into this coach is 300 pounds.
Man.
Okay. It's balanced so well that it opens and closes fine, but you're pulling weight when you're opening and closing. You can feel the weight, right? But when you close that thing, it's like a bank vault. I mean, it's no
Serious.
joke. These things are
Oh,
commercial grade, heavy duty beasts. They're designed to be beaten up and down the road all day long with 50 passengers in them, going from Dallas to, you know, New York or whatever, and back again and constantly unloading and loading. And, that's what they're designed for. Heavy duty commercial use.
right.
What I'm using it for is nothing. This is a walk in
Right.
the park.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we got one more comment. We're going to rack it up. Lexus plus Prevost equals perfection. Yeah.
It's
I'm
right.
towing the LX 470 behind it. This thing doesn't even know the LX is back there. I
Right.
pulled it all the way from California to here. It didn't even know the thing was back there. It's nothing. That Lexus was loaded up as 5,300 pounds. Okay. I weighed it. It was 5,300 pounds. And this thing didn't even know it was back there.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
So, yeah, it is a pretty good combination.
Great
All right,
comment.
well, thanks for popping in. Hopefully, we addressed the situations that we wanted to address. The moral of the story is get yourself a gold stunner and just wear and enjoy it. By the way, is your friend, is he wearing his?
Oh, Brett. Yeah, he's wearing his.
And he enjoys it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He loves his watch. Yeah. I haven't
Okay.
seen him in a long time because he's living in Costa Rica now, but.
And he's not worried about any scratches on it, right?
No. Oh, no, not at all. No, never. I'm sure it's got plenty. Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen that watch since I think the day that he bought it, but yeah.
I'll bet you if you ask him, I bet you he's going to tell you it's holding up pretty good because mine's holding up pretty good. It's got scratches on this part of the class, the smooth part,
Yeah.
right? But other than that, it's holding up really good. Let me see if I can. One last thing I'll show a close-up of this class because I think I showed that last time. And I just want to make sure. Here we go. I want to make sure we got all this documented. And boom. Okay. So you see the scratches there? So, that's what it's getting. It's getting some scratches there on the clasp.
Yep.
But it looks fine.
It will.
There's no problem. It's no problem. It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming on. And we will keep an eye on what's going on Facebook and all and see if any of these people are getting the message.
Oh, yeah.
And we will.
We got to do it again. There's obviously going to be more to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, keep me posted because at some point we also have to do a full report on California and what's going on out there.
Oh, yeah.
And what your plans are. I mean, are there any tentative plans on getting out of there, or are you going to kind of stay at this point?
I think I'm in a holding pattern right now.
Okay. Okay.
That's kind of the best way to describe it. But
okay.
But yes, we will do a full report on that.
Okay, we can talk about that. And
yes.
And I might be headed out west, so I might, we might rendezvous or something. I'm definitely going to go as far as Chicago because I think I'm going to take the Lexus up to the Car Care Nut.
Oh, good. Okay.
So
you're getting the Midwest at least.
Yeah, maybe what we should do if the weather's decent and stuff like that, maybe you should fly out to Chicago for a couple of days.
When do you think you're doing that?
And we could just kind of like tour Chicago a little bit and check it out.
Yeah. When's I haven't been there in a few years. When
I'll have to do it during decent weather. I'll have to do it,
summer?
sometime over the summer
or
late summer, but not into the cold part of the fall for them, wherever the ideal weather is there.
It's possible actually that I'm going to Wisconsin this summer. There's a possibility. And so if I do that, I've flown into Chicago before, so maybe it'll work out that way. So we'll see. But yeah, let me know when you're thinking about heading there and might be.
Yeah, because what I might do is I might get a spot in an RV resort near there for a month and just spend a month there.
Oh, great.
And that way he can take his time and do what he needs to do. And, I want to rush him. And I can take my time and kind of see all of Chicago and, just enjoy the area a little bit.
That's a great
I
idea.
like to go into an area and spend some time there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not be rushed.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep you posted on that. And in the meantime, figure out when we're going to do another broadcast and talk about what's going on in California.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you
All right.
later.
Thanks for coming on. And thanks everybody. Hey, like, comment, and share, everybody. Like, comment, and share. Subscribe. And we will talk to you all later.
Talk to you guys later. Thanks, Craig. See ya.